One of them is adrenaline. I mean, if you see a lion right now, your body will just tell you, run away. You're not going to sit and think, is it a cat? Should I brush it? Is it a rat or whatever? So it's therefore there to actually protect you. But again, if it's too high, it also causes some abnormalities like anxiety as a disorder. And then we have others. I'm not going to mention what they are, but when you stress a lot, that's why you find that people that are stressed and depressed, sometimes they tend to gain weight. It's because of those hormones that get to be high in the body, and if you don't sleep enough, also they get to be high, and that will lead to tiredness and also weight gain. So now, let's talk about depression. What is depression? I mean, maybe 3 days ago, my Ben 10 dumped me. I said maybe. So the question is, will that qualify me as depressed or sad because I've been dumped, you know? So depression is a constant state of sadness. So we all go through moments of being sad, whether you're disappointed because your mom didn't do this for you, or you applied for a job or for a bursary and you didn't get it. We do become sad, but that is not depression. It's just that we use depression loosely, depressed, and stuff like that. But clinically, it has a definition. So when people are depressed, remember I said it's a long-term sadness, state of sadness and hopelessness. Like, even if, you know, I kill myself, you start having suicidal thoughts. And people think the things that they normally enjoy, which is maybe hanging out with friends, now they start to isolate themselves, whether it's playing sport or reading or whatever. So that's how you also can identify depression, whether on yourself or your peers and your friends. And I think it's important to know that when it comes to mental health, we also need to be our sisters and our brothers' keepers, because you can see, other people can't see that there's something wrong with them. So you need to call them in and have a private conversation and raise your concerns that you think something is not okay, and be able to say, because you saw X and Y and Z. So I've said that with depression, obviously the other hormones, they get elevated. And that will lead to weight gain, it leads to tiredness, so people sleep a lot and stuff. And then you'll find other people, their appetite will actually increase and they gain a lot of weight. Others, their appetite actually decreases, it does the opposite, and they lose a lot of weight. But you can actually tell that, you know, if it's someone you know or yourself, that you are no longer yourself. You look at the mirror and you see someone that looks strange, and you see someone that looks so sad, and that is no longer smiling, etc. So those are the signs of depression, including sleeping a lot. But other people struggle with falling asleep because of depression. So people struggle to fall asleep, and they start taking over-the-counter medication, etc., to assist them with falling asleep. But that does not actually address the problem of depression. So talking about how we manage depression, firstly, it starts with you, and then acknowledging that something is not okay and you're off balance, and then doing something about it. I've already mentioned some of the things that we can do to actually increase our happy hormones, which is exercise and doing the things that we enjoy, and also to go out and seek help. So how do we define help? We don't expect everybody to be coming to doctor and, you know, when they're depressed, etc. There are other structures in the community where support is being provided, like the church. Those of you who attend church and others, they have support structures and people that can support them. And then also the health facilities. So you do find that sometimes when people are depressed, they go to a local clinic. One, maybe they don't feel comfortable to share their issues and how they feel with a nurse at the clinic for whatever reason. The social workers also are there, and they are trained to provide counseling for most of the mental health illnesses. But the main thing is, whatever the trigger is, needs to be addressed. Let's say it's something that is happening at home, or how you're being treated at home, or something that has to do with work, etc. That will have to be addressed. We do find ourselves sometimes in spaces where we have no control, but it does influence our mental state. So when that happens, the help that you actually need is the help that will assist you and give you the tools on how to survive in such an environment, and also how to acknowledge your feelings and how to process them. I'll give an example. Let's say your mother has bipolar mood disorder. You know bipolar. Today they're happy, tomorrow they are sad, you know? And today they are very low and not talking to you. The next day they are loud and etc. I mean, you have no control where you're born and where you stay, you know? But obviously that has an impact on you. But the help that you can actually seek for yourself is for you to be able to survive and function and have a better mental well-being as a person, because you cannot control the next person. But the only person that you control is yourself. And then sometimes patients with depression, they get prescribed medication, and that will be prescribed by the doctor, but normally it's the medication for depression coupled with some sort of psychotherapy where you get taught behavioral mechanisms, when you get taught how to approach problems and how to process your feelings so that you feel better. And then the second mental is anxiety. So I come from Pretoria. I drove from Pretoria this morning, and I normally become anxious when it comes to timekeeping and stuff. So I will leave home early just to be an hour early for my meeting, because I don't know, issues around load shedding, traffic issues, etc., etc. And then today, I was so anxious because, traffic was just out of hand. But that does not make me someone that suffers from anxiety disorder. We all experience anxiety. You know, we are scared, and sometimes because we're not sure what the outcome will be, and you don't want to ask for certain things from parents or wherever, because you are scared that you might get a response that you don't like. So that is normal anxiety. But when it gets out of hand, or when it gets abnormal, it is when it affects your daily functioning. So which means you're not able to focus, you're not able to sleep properly, you're not able to finish the tasks that you're supposed to do, because of this excessive fear and being jittery and getting, your heart is racing, and your face and sometimes your hands are also sweaty, because of anxiety. So that's the anxiety disorder, or having depression because they have anxiety that is not being managed appropriately. So there's different types of anxiety disorders. I'm sure you've heard of a panic attack, or you've seen someone having a panic attack. Yes, so they suddenly get this rush, and the heart is racing, and they're sweating, and sometimes they even collapse. And it is because of anxiety. And anxiety normally has triggers. So certain things, maybe actions and fear of certain things can actually trigger a panic attack. So when someone suffers from panic attacks, they need to seek help, because it's all about getting to know what the triggers are, and then getting the tools on how to minimize the anxiety, and sometimes also be prescribed medication so that you can manage the anxiety. And then another common one is a social-related anxiety. There are people whom, if you ask them to come on stage, they literally faint wherever they are, because of fear of being around people, or fear of standing in front of people. So that is anxiety, and again, you need to seek help because, therapy will assist with how to manage anxiety. So when I say anxiety disorder has an impact on your functioning, just think of it. If you have panic attacks and you're looking for a job and you go for a job interview, they ask you a question that you are not sure of the answer, and then you have an attack there, during the interview. And obviously, people will think twice before they offer you a job, even if you fit the criteria.
Just a second, Doc. Thank you so much. Just a second, I'm here. Sanbonan. Ngicela uku-understand ukuthi why are we having conversations? Does it mean we don't want to be in this stage? Noma you want to go to another stage? And nabantu aba-exhibitor, those who are at the exhibitions, the exhibitors, you know that exhibitions open at a specific time. If you want to do exhibitions, please go at the right time. And the exhibitors, can you work with us on this one? Anyone on Nama Eku exhibition, please. Exhibitors, please close your exhibitions. And I need to say, Uguchi, there's going to be a Q&A after this. And Usailam, yabona mabeka Sailam nawala. So if you are not paying attention, you're going to miss out on that. And there are other people who need this information because it is important and vital to them. If I suggest really, if this is not relevant for you, you go to the next stage. Thank you. Over to you, Doc.
Ngiyabonga. Okay, so we're talking about the different types of anxiety and why we need to make sure that if you suspect that you have an anxiety disorder, you actually reach out for help so that you can be assessed and be assisted on how to manage that condition. So if not managed, it will definitely interfere with your activities of daily living. Whether you're at school or at work or at home, it will have an impact on that. So some of the common anxiety disorders are phobias. Like you find someone that is so scared of cats. And if the cat comes into the room, they jump on top of the table and they, behave in a manner that we think it's abnormal. But that cat, the sight of the cat, triggers an anxiety reaction person. So I did say earlier that anxiety disorders normally have triggers. So it could be an animal, it could be some people, it could be a smell that is linked to some event that happened. And 2 days ago, we had a session with someone who has, every time they smell, what's this perfume? Some other perfume, they get reminded of when, they were raped by someone that was using that particular perfume. So the therapy that that person is actually getting is to deal with that trauma, because the trauma is actually leading to the anxiety attack, so that she can function normally, even if that smell, is somewhere close to her, and she can smell the perfume. So those are anxiety disorders. So what is important is just knowing that all of us can develop any mental health disorder. Some of it is genetic. When you look at depression and you look at anxiety, but some of it is triggered by the environment, as I've related issues around trauma, also how people were brought up. If you were brought up as an only child and being protected and not given an opportunity to interact with other people. So some of those children, they grow up as anxious, adults, and being scared to actually reach out, engage with other people. And when they're asked to, come into a room where there's other family members, they start sweating and, they get palpitations and they think they're having a heart attack and stuff like that. So that's why it's important to actually seek help, so that you can know what the triggers are and you can be assisted, whether through therapy or therapy with a combination of medication. So you guys are young. I can see, yeah, all of you look 18 and 16 and stuff. Eh, yeah, you look like the generation that spends a lot of time on social media and all that. And that being a source, actually, I'm going to be very controversial. It's a source of mental health problems because people start comparing themselves to what they see on social media, which more often than not is not true. And people start measuring their success based on others, what they see on social media, etc. But COVID, as a health profession, also taught us that the time that people spend on social media can actually be good for their health. Like, for example, I mean, if you go into Facebook, there's a group of people that have anxiety disorders. So in that group, they support each other, they share their coping mechanisms, etc. I mean, during COVID, lockdown, some people were staying by themselves, and they could only keep in touch with the world through social media. Then we find that other credible organizations like universities and associations, etc., they also share health information. They use social media to share credible health information online. So when it comes to social media and mental health, there's both the positive and the negative. I always say there's nothing and no person that is 100% bad, even if we don't like them for whatever reason, but there's a few people that they when they're in the room with them, they smile and they enjoy actually being with them. So talking about mental health, the issue of stigma is a challenge where we see that people don't actually go out to seek help because of stigma. The fear of being labeled as if, as she mentioned earlier, uyahlanya ini nani and stuff, you know. So the stigma, this is what we need to fight because again, all of us are susceptible to getting mental illnesses. We've all been, most of us, on the couch and spoken about our issues and being assisted on how to manage some of the challenges that we experience in life and at work and also at home. I just think that we have come to a point where we need to normalize such conversations about mental health. So, there are so many issues, stuff on TV, things happening at home or not happening in our lives, etc. And so many reasons for people to believe that they have a right or they have earned depression. So it's very important to be mindful and to practice mindfulness. So what is this? Firstly, it's the power of breathing. And if any of you suffer from anxiety and they've been taught how to manage it, I think you now appreciate how breathing can actually calm you down. Not the breathing that you do every day, like right now, you are not even noticing that you're breathing in and out, but it's an intentional breathing of using your gut and drawing air in and holding it in, and then out, and then counting. So when you're feeling anxious, that's ideally what we actually recommend. Take it easy, calm yourself down so that the heart rate can actually calm down. And then create space. Space for you to be alone and space where you're not distracted by a phone, by people, by anything else. And just allow yourself to be. When you're not feeling okay and you give yourself that space, you are able to name the feeling. Sometimes we think we are angry at someone, and yet we're disappointed and not angry. But we don't give ourselves time to actually sit and process those emotions. And then it's to be open to new things. Obviously, we have our plans. When I turn 25, I'll be married to whoever, I'll be driving my own car, etc., etc. We need to be open. Life happens, and something bigger than us is in control. Sometimes you just have to trust the process. Whether it's good things or bad things that are happening, it's just trusting the process and always taking a step back. Why is this happening? Not to me. Why is this happening? what is the lesson I'm supposed to be getting from this experience, and what can I do? What can I do about it? And then, importantly, it's the power of gratitude. Waking up in the morning, even if your dreams are not fulfilled, but being grateful that there's a roof over your head, being grateful that you went to bed with your tummy full, being grateful for the other things that other people that are more, that are not as are actually craving for and praying for. And start a day with gratitude and being thankful for some of those things. And be kind to yourself. You know, we're only human. We can control so much. The rest, God will control. Others, people in our lives will bump us, and etc. And yes, and just be open to living life and trusting the experience. And obviously, still chasing your dreams, but don't be married to this road. You might take 10 years to get to what you thought you'd do in 2 years. But in the 10 years, maybe God wanted you to meet certain people, maybe get rid of certain habits, etc., etc. So those are some of the mindfulness practices that you can implement on a daily basis. Just the 30 minutes when you wake up, no cell phone, no social media, time with yourself, firstly being grateful and then reflecting on what you need to be grateful for, and also be open. And be open to, and not judging yourself, but be open to processing your feelings and understand why you feel sad if you feel sad, and why you're angry if you feel angry, and then be able to deal with that as an individual, because you have to take charge of how you feel and also on how you process the information that the world sends towards you. So, take home messages. Mind your mind. So what you're thinking of and stuff, you need to be conscious of what is going on in your head, you know, and the conversations that you're having in your own head. And if the conversations are talking against you and they're not taking you anywhere, it is time you need to start practicing managing your thoughts and creating that space where you can think and be able to say, no, I'm better than that, even if your mind is telling you otherwise, and then be able to talk yourself into a positive state. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. B. Thank you so much, Dr. B. Ngoba ngiyanazi ukuthi mhlambe asakajwayeli ukuthi mental wellness is one of the things that we live with. If you would like to ask Dr. B a couple of questions around mental wellness, you want clarity, you want understanding, and maybe you need clarity on some of the stuff that she was presenting, Dr. B is still here.
Yeah.
And if you need help for maybe one of your family members, they're doing stuff that you're not sure, Dr. B will be able
Also,
to point you into the right direction.
There were hotlines that were shown up on the wall. Please use those hotlines. They are there to save your life. Depression is real.
Yeah.
Depression is real. You might be sitting next to a person right there with you who's going through, there's something called functional depression. The person ubukeka jabulile, ubukeka alright, but when they go back home, they are going through a lot.
Sure.
So depression is real. Those numbers up there are for you to
Thank
use.
you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. B. So, as we move along with the program, I am pleased and I am honored to introduce to you Mom Cool. She's a mom and she's cool, so that's why I call her Mom Cool. They're none other than Dokotela Griselda Canada.
Griselda Canada in the house.
Griselda Dokotela in the house. Dr. Griselda Canada is from Positive Talks, and she's one of the people that have made or put away the stigma against HIV and AIDS for the longest of time. And I think I've never gotten anybody that brings it home like you do over the years. And I'm quite grateful to be your daughter, Mom Cool.
Once more, a round of applause.
Dr. Criseta Canada kahambi yedwa, uhamba no Hakim Lesolo.
Applause.
And then there's none other than Aus Lebu Ramafuku, strategic feminist. Aus Lebu niyamazi nimazele TV. Aus Lebu is a celebrity. And we also have Ubokang Jackson Jackie Morure.
Round of applause, a round of applause, a round of applause. Come on now. Orange Farm.
We also have Helen Joseph.
Yeah.
Yabona ukuthi sinithatha serious, siniphathela nabelungu. And then we have Sisi Busi Mzondolo, the therapist.
Come on, round of applause. Come on. Sis Busi in the house. Sis Busi in the house. Come on now.
Usisibusi ngiyam angithi nginitshela ukuthi mina ngizoba Mrs Universe mara usisibusi ngathi ufuna ukungithathela yes. So Dokotela sithembe wena.
Hello, Sanbonani. I think before we begin this conversation, can you all stand, please?
Yeah.
Mansa phakame kanjalo, give yourself a hug. Thank you. This person that you are hugging, Mjele, I love you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
You are important.
You're important.
You are beautiful.
You're beautiful.
Men, say this out loud. You are beautiful.
You're beautiful.
Did you see the girls as well when I said men? Nkosi yami. You are precious.
You're precious.
Ubalulekile.
Ubalulekile.
You are here for a time such as this.
You're here for times
It
such
is
as
good
this.
to be alive.
It is good to be
You
alive.
are light.
You are light.
Emangithi you are light, ithi I am light. Nkosi yami. Thank you. Now that all of you are awake, siyabonga. Take your seats.
Yep.
I think right now we've given a round of applause to all the speakers, the contributors to this session. I would like you to give yourself a round of applause, ngalo mzuzu. Applaud yenu is so weak. Umuntu
Make it
osishaya
louder.
izandla ezi-weak kanje. Give yourself a round of applause. One of the things that we take light is that when you were born, you were already a winner, right? Wawina at birth. So everything else is just a bonus. You are here to share your human experience. I am because you are. You are because I am. So masi interact, masi share my human experiences wethu, we make life easier and bearable. Today, we are going to talk about one of those challenging topics in our community. Siyagoisha, guys. Yo, siyagoisha. Life is happening every day, right? And you sit back and you wonder, "Ukuthi kanti mina ngenzeni kangaka, kuyenzeni hakanakani?" So today, with my beautiful panel, we're here to say you are not alone, right? In whatever challenges you're faced with, in whatever circumstances you find yourself in, you are not alone. Please say it with me. I am not alone.
I am not alone.
It gets better,
It gets
right?
better.
It will get better, I promise you. Today, listen and take everything as an opportunity for you to make better where you come from, to make better your experiences, to make better your circumstances, because it does indeed get better. So let's go to my panel. Today we're going to talk about the importance of mental health in relation to the crime that we're experiencing in our community, in relation to the gender-based violence that is happening in our communities. And we are here in no way saying gender-based violence only happens to females. We acknowledge and know that males too do get abused. Siyazwana ngithi? Can I hear an amen from gentle people? Never abuse abantwana babantu ukuthi bamemeza kanjani. Nkosi yami. Shoo. We also looking at crime. The other day I read about a cough mixture that is sold in kumaspaza shops, cough mixture that is mixed with this Sprite and painkillers. Siyayazi? What is it called? Ini? Nkosi yami. Cha thina sidalwe in a different environment and time. Niphila esikhathini esinzima. So mix ye cough mixture nama painkillers ne Sprite gives you a high. Sure. Okay. So utshwala budula ngaleyo ndlela leyo. Kufanele sitshontshe cough mixture. Sure. And then we also look at substance abuse and how it affects us in our respective communities. So I'm going to go right at the end and start with Ubusi, the therapist today. Maybe please share with us some of the experiences that you have gone through in why it's so difficult for human beings, I'm not going to even say just men, human beings to not seek therapy. Why have we, I mean, you've made it, Busi the therapist, you've made it easy to relate with, sexier if I can borrow that term, but it's not something that we are accustomed to, especially as black people. Why is this?
Molweni, can I stand? I feel short when I'm sitting. I used to know how to introduce myself in sign language, but I forgot. But my name it's Busi. Busi, yes, that one I know. Mam Criselda, it is so difficult because, or the experiences that I have seen is that a lot of people think therapy is when you've lost your mind. Therapy is when you are seeking help because you've lost your mind. There's a big narrative around Guti. I'm only gonna go speak to somebody when I am going through the most, and that's all that we know. Go speak to a therapist. You are not well, go speak to a therapist. Jonga unengxaki ezininzi that are overwhelming you, go speak to a therapist. And people don't want to go speak to somebody because it's so overwhelmed. There are a lot of them. And when we teach people to say, Mamela, come to me as you are. Do you guys believe that I go to a psychiatric hospital? Do you know a psychiatric hospital? Exactly. So on September, because September I go to a psychiatric hospital, I sit there for 5 days. Why? Because I need to connect with myself. I need to understand, am I okay? I need to know, Uguti, am I still me or have I lost myself? So it's not only for the ones that are losing their minds. It is for those ones who are saying, I need to know who I am. Am I still intact with myself or not?
Thank you very much. Haylene, and I'm going to appeal to our panel that unfortunately we only have, 35 minutes to tackle very difficult issues. So try as much as you can to just respond to the question so that we move right along swiftly. Haylene, looking at our histories, I mean, we come from very difficult environments. And mental health plays a major role in how we relate to issues that happen to us. Maybe if you can just take us through, how does mental health interact with our circumstances, environments, and history?
So, thank you. I don't know, can everyone hear me?
No, you don't have to stand. No pressure.
Okay. So, I think that one of the most important things is to
Please
realize
bring
that
the mic closer.
Oh, there we go. I think that one of the most important things is to realize that you are not a product of your circumstances, that your life can be changed every day by the choices that you make and the decisions and behaviors that you start to shift thereafter. So let's say, for example, things in your life are not going the way you want them to. If you wake up and you try to change your thoughts on a daily basis, have practical things that you can get in touch with daily. And one of the ways to do that is even to write them down so that you get them out of your head and continue with your day so that you're not stuck in the same environment and in the same mental headspace. And there's small changes that you can make, but it's ultimately your decision to take into your hands to change where you're at currently into a different future for yourself.
Awesome, thank you, thank you. You are not your circumstances. Your parents may be in a shack, you may have been abused, you may have been called things. You are not your circumstances. You get to determine where you end up. Thank you very much for that. And now, Mjegeja, I'd like to hear from you. You work a lot with men. His other name is Bokang and Ujeki, aka Mjegeja. You work a lot with men. We come from environments where tigers don't cry. I don't know why God created tears for men when we are going to say they are tigers, they shouldn't cry. How do we connect with the narrative in society that limits how men connect to their emotional self? You were supposed to just speak.
Yeah, so with mental health and men specifically, it's a topic that is very difficult to engage on because of the cultural aspect that is associated with men in our society, educational aspect, and emotional aspect. So I think the huge challenge or the huge gap there is the safe space for emotional expression for men. I think it's not somehow incorporated in our lifestyle or daily activities. Make an example for a boy child and also for a girl child. We don't have something like a syllabus that deals with mental health in our schools as early as grade 5, maybe at least, so that they can learn coping mechanisms. And again, we know that the government or the media and everything, they are promoting women empowerment. And I'm afraid that later we will be sitting here 10 years down the line promoting men, because we are promoting one side, not promoting the other side. So to my brothers, fathers, sons, cousins, and everything, to the audience as men, I'll plead with them to seek necessary help as early as possible. We shouldn't try to deal with things on our own. We know as Majida, we try to resort in other things. And also the coping mechanism that we're engaging on. Let's make sure those are healthy coping mechanisms. Because sometimes if you cope with alcohol, then you might see yourself having double of the trouble that you made. And lastly, it is the technology and media well-being. I think we need to learn how to detox in our social space or in our social media, also to set boundaries and to make sure that we have positive internet interaction. Thank you.
Especially positive internet connections. Hey, intercessors on Twitter. Woo! Guys, we are brutal with Twitter. We are brutal with Twitter. And because you don't know what the next person is experiencing, what they're going through, just be kind, please. Ngicela ubheke the person sitting next to you. Awumbheke nje. Bheka lo. Mawuqeda lapho umtshela ukuthi hey shut up wena ngizolalela la. Bese siyathula ke, bhekani mina ke futhi. Thank you, Siabong. Shh. Thank you. Auslebo, we have an ill, ebizwa gender-based violence. Abantu bayashayana, bayashaywa. I do not believe there is a child who's born an abuser. I do not believe ukuthi khona umzali othi mayezele umntwana athi hamba ke mntanami sowukhulile hamba lokushaya abafazi or hamba lokushaya amadoda. How do we ensure that we create safer societies? How do we use mental well-being in recognizing some of the ills that inform the people that we are? Because some of us, we come from environments where ubaba bekashaya umama, nami senyashaya. Umama bekashaya ubaba, nami senyashaya.
Thank you very much. I think first and foremost, into physical violence is one form of violence. It's not the only one. And before people start ukuthi mhlambe kube ne physical violence, it starts with control. So what we indoctrinate young people into believing is that when a person says, I can be in a relationship with you, you own them. And therefore, if you own them, you must control them. And of course, nobody is born to be controlled. Everybody has their own agency. Everybody can think. Everybody determines for themselves what is wrong and what is right. And the second thing that is happening is that we don't have good role modeling of how do we deal with conflict. So for an example, I meet you today. We met in the hall outside. For whatever reason, you are not in the mood to talk to me or to greet me in the way that I'm used to greet to you. Because it hurts me, I don't have the kind of tools or skills to know that when I meet you the next time, I can say, uyazi Griselda, the other day, ayingiphathanga kahle ukuthi ureact so. To give you an opportunity to say, you know, the last time ngikubona, I was going through 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that conflict is squashed. Then when you take it in interpersonal relationships, you don't answer my phone. You don't answer my WhatsApp. In my mind, I formulated a story. So kutia, kushukutu ya jola, kushukutu wenza so, kushukutu wenza so. And because I don't have the tools to come to you and say, hey man, for me, my love language is attention. Mangit phonela, noma ungakhona ukuphendula ifoni yami. Ngicela ukuthi ungithumelele umlayezo ukuthi I'm busy ngizokufonela later. Mangifika sengiyakushaya. And the third thing is people then do not want to own their own insecurities. And I think mental health for men is important because we say to men, you are leaders, you are the head, we say all sorts of things without the tools of how do you do it. So abafana amaningi, amadoda amaningi, a lot of the things that they do is out of insecurity. Insecurity eyenza ukuthi when ekushiya, you take it so personally that it's about you. Maybe there's something wrong with you that you want to show her or you want ukuthi omunye umuntu angamtholi. So there's a lot that we need to do as individuals. And if we had more time, one would unpack. And let us all, it's only one tip that I have. Make sure that you heal your pain. Make sure that you provide for yourself. Similarly as girls, awunayo imali yemoto, awunayo imali yeinwele, awunayo imali ye makeup, awunayo imali yama restaurant yotshwala obdurayo. How do you expect then a boy who did not give birth to you to give you those things?
Hola, Sislebu, you are speaking to our issues and challenges for sure. You remind me of a story. Nyamazu Glenn Lewis, the DJ Glenn Lewis. Glenn Lewis at one stage ungena at this pub. Ubuza labo sisi ukuthi what would you ladies like to drink? Bathi champagne. Athi okay. Izolo niphuzeni la benhleli khona. Isavana athi waiter banike isavana. Makungena mina why fanele kube ichampagne kuukuthi ujwayele isavana. Siyazenza lezi zinto angithi. Cela izinto that you can afford. This is why we end up selling our souls, because sifuna izinto that we can't afford. Hakim, we are so many crime, government is involved, there are too many stakeholders. What are we missing? Because I look at months like August. In August month, it feels like bayafonelana ukuthi asibulalaneni manje, asihlukumezaneni manje. The more focus, the spotlight we shine on GBV, the worse it becomes. All you have to do is look at statistics. What are we missing?
Dubenang? Leshap? Kanit? Okay, to answer your question, I think what we're missing is whenever we put a focus on 1 month, we miss the whole point that mental health to an individual is an everyday thing. It's not a 1 month, like Mother's Day or Valentine's Day. If you can't celebrate your partner the same way, special, every single day, if you don't celebrate your mother every single day, if you don't celebrate your father every single day, then we're going to fall into the tradition of, okay, only for 1 month. So we tackle gender-based violence. That's the worst way we can go about it. How she experiences gender-based violence is very different from how she experiences it. How you experience gender-based violence is very different from how I experience gender-based violence, right? How your mental health is very different from the next person's mental health. So if you, as an individual, first, don't wait for the government, don't wait for me, don't wait for organizations, don't wait for the health department to tell you what time it is for you to focus on yourself. Every single day, it is your duty and your responsibility upon yourself to take care of you. So how do you take care of yourself? How do you love yourself? How do you prioritize yourself? How do you feel good about yourself? How do you gain control over your own emotions and learn how to regulate them so when Spanbane says something about you on social media, it doesn't trigger you and then you react by going to alcohol or going to that relationship and sleeping with that person just so you feel better for 3 minutes, because it's really 3 minutes. How do you stop? let me just land. Let my plane land, okay? So you have more control of your mental, emotional, and physical well-being than anyone has ever told you before. You are more powerful than anyone has ever told you before. And all you have to do is take all this advice, condense it, and say, I am going to learn. In fact, repeat after me. I am going to learn and master how to control myself. And by so doing, I need you to say it from the God. By so doing, I will control the whole world. I just need to control me first.
Okay.
The one at the end there was but you get me. Learn to control yourself. It's like God says in Matthew 22. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. Master it. Thereafter, the dominion of the world and everything in it is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we're going backwards now as we conclude our conversation. So unfortunate that we're given less time. Sifuna more time. Next time we'll make sure what is demanded 2 hours, right?
The
this
whole
is a
day.
very important issue.
The whole day.
So going back, Hakim, I'm going to start with you. You kept on asking questions. How do I? Maybe you can start right there and tell us how to.
All right. Whatever problem you have, money problem, car problem, house problem.
Women, men problem.
Women, men problem. There's a solution for it. There's someone in your phone book who is successful at that thing. If you can just kill your scum and ask a question, hey, how did you do this? I'm trying to figure it out.
The person sitting next to you is making noise and it's your fault.
And it's your fault because you're not calling them out. Call them out. Say,
Tell them to shut up.
Shut up your mouth.
Thank you.
In your phone book alone, you don't have to go on social media, you don't have to go in your phone book alone, there's someone who's figured out what you're struggling with. The scum that you feel to ask them is what's stopping you from living the solution and not continuing with the problem. Start there. Start there. And then unfollow everyone on social media. Unfollow every single person. It doesn't matter whether you're following your mom or your cousin or your boyfriend. If they're not adding to you, they're not adding to you.
Thank you.
If they're not helping you, they're not helping. Unfollow everyone and only follow 10 people. And these 10 people are teaching you about mental health, they're teaching you about money, they're teaching you about how to have a healthy relationship, how to regulate yourself, how to live a good life without spending more money than you have to spend money. Okay? Unfollow everyone and follow only 10 people who you will learn from for the rest of the year and practice what they're teaching you on a daily basis. That's how.
And I'm sure that includes social media as well, because some of us, we're following people for likes and we contribute to their mental wellness or ill health. Lebu, you know, you were speaking to issues as women, the amount of pressure we put on men. But I'd like us to zoom in and focus on the societal pressure. Boy meets girl, fall in love and decide that we want to get married. There's lobola issues, there's family dynamics. How do these contribute to our mental well-being in our society? And I'm speaking so that if there's a young person who wants to get married here, they must know that going to Home Affairs and just signing is okay.
You listen.
Let's listen so we can...
First, especially as a woman, it's not an achievement. Marriage as an institution is because normally the expectations that society puts on makoti may not be aligned with the expectations you have for yourself. Okay? So as women, we need to really, firstly, be clear about what it is we want for our lives. And it's okay to get married in your 40s, your 50s, or your 60s. It's okay. Because a lot of us turn boys into husbands when they are not ready to be husbands. After 3 months, we are divorced. After 4 months, because our values are not there. But also, and I'm calling out a number of institutions that are keeping us in this pressure. We are in institutions, and I'm sorry to say this, a lot of these institutions are churches that are putting so much pressure on young women. And we need to learn to be in environments where we question. So for me, you need to be questioning your culture, your religion, but question it from a point of knowing ukuthi wena ngokwakho ufunani. Once you've decided ukuthi ufunani, then the pressure is something else.
Thank you, thank you. And I think to go with that, you also need to know. Bokang, let's talk about how we remove the stigma of seeking help. And I keep going back to helping men in our communities because it's your passion. How do we remove the stigma of seeking help and encourage communities together to identify, because Thabo Bester is not Thabo Bester on his own. He's got a community around him. Why is the community singing happy birthday and not calling him to order?
Yeah. So thank you so much. And our two previous speakers, they mentioned a very valuable point on an individual. So before we look far, let's look within. I think if we can, it's easy to blame outside world or outside factors, but I think one needs to start within before going outside. Accepting your situation, number one, your financial situation, your physical being, your emotional status, your environment, it's important before you go out and seek something else. And I think one thing that can be done, Sis Griselda, is awareness. Awareness by all the community-based organizations, the clinics or healthcare system, whereby people know that seeking help doesn't say you are weak as a man or as a woman or a young child. And with all of this, to my gents, I want to say this to the guys. Guys, we grew up with single parents. Let's not expose our children to that also. Yes, it might be an issue where a woman turns you into a man whilst you are a boy, but most importantly, take responsibility. Take responsibility of your actions. And I want to talk about, I'm looking at the time, about the importance of adaptability. Environments change, times change. One needs to have a character or characteristics that is needed, is adaptability. And you can never change a situation or a problem or solve a problem with the same mentality that you created the problem with. We need to be mindful of that. So I'm strengthening the issue of an individual and knowing your purpose. And as for awareness, I think it goes outside to our CBOs, healthcare, and the government at large. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Haylene, we come from environments where, hey, mama uyadakwa. Hey, umama uyadakwa. Ubabam ushaya abantu, scroof. Like there's just so much happening in our communities. Ubaba akhe was abusive. Ubaba before yena bekayisdakwa abhema non-stop, abhema nezdakamizwa, and using insango not for healing, but using it as a recreational drug. Adagwe nje. Sinenkinga, Haylene. How do we break some of these generational cycles of continued abuse of substance, acts of criminality, and just pure alcoholism?
So I think the answer is to understand that the power lies within you, to know that you are the conductor of your own reality and how truly powerful each and every one of you are. That when you start taking responsibility for your own life, you know that you have the chance to change it. And stop listening to everyone else around you. Don't let other people put you down. Know that these are your decisions and that you're going to take the change and make them for yourself every single day.
So everything is about self today. So namhlanje as uhleli la, I've given you a simple assignment. Guti, look at the person sitting next to you and tell them ukuthi bangakuphazamisi uzomamela. But some of you are allowing them ukuthi bakuphazamise. And this is what we do in our communities as well. You can tell that this person is disturbing the peace of our society and you are allowing them anibakhuzi. So it goes back to your contribution as an individual, right? To your contribution when you know that you are hurt, fix your head. I think Hakeem mentioned it, that you know your personal struggles. And Lebu also mentioned it, that you know your pain. Fix it. Find the person who's going to help you fix the pain, that you don't continue causing harm to others. Busi, the therapist. There are so many young people who are starting up NGOs now, contributing to helping society to deal with some of the social ills. And unfortunately, some would go into this simply because there's funding. Now, as we talk to the individual, the person, part of the problem is people taking on assignments that they know they're not passionate about. What would be your message to organizations that are in the space but not providing the services? We know so many people who have claimed millions out of government, and when you look at the programs that they claim to have implemented, they didn't.
Mama Ingati, you've known Uguti, I wanted to say that today.
Hey, I read minds as well.
You knew, ne? So young people, I'm gonna give you a tip. First, deal with your anxiety. Because if you are unable to deal with anxiety, you're not gonna achieve what you want to achieve. You are going to open an NGO, and it's going to chase you for the rest of your life. You're gonna have so much fear to stand up and speak for yourself. You're gonna have so much fear to take that funding and use it. I've got so many clients at whom have been funded materials, I've got machines, but I don't know what to do with them. Why? Because they've got so much fear. So my tip to you young people is, write down 365 things you want to achieve on your company and on yourself. And every year tick those boxes, even if it's 10, even if it's 20, you have achieved something because you've written it down. Don't have a vision and it's just sitting on paperwork, but have 365 things you want to achieve in your NGO, in your community, and in your personal life. So that when I've ticked 20 boxes of 365 things I wanted to achieve before I turned 40. So that's the advice I'm giving to each and every one of you today to take home.
So right now, we are going to allow you to ask questions. Please tell us who you are and who your question is directed to. Looking at the technical guys, trying to figure out if we have a roving mic. Come to the front, ask your question. Maybe let's raise hands and see how many of you have questions. Kalani line again. I will take 5 people this side, 5 people that side. Kalani line nizela and ask your question. Ningayenzeli mina umlozi ngimdala kini. 5 people here. Oh, shaya namaflate ke. Ala. So ngicela ubanikeze mic. 5 people this side. And do indicate ukuthi i-question yakho iyakubani. If ukhohlwe igama, usho what they mentioned, and then ask the question.
Good day, speakers. My name is Sanela Mbwana. Actually, my question is based on any speaker. It's just a general question.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, I believe that as youth, our mental health mostly is affected by not understanding gender roles. Ubona ukuthi umuntu depressed because we expect ukuthi boyfriend imtext akantextanga boyfriend mina kumele ngimtext and so forth. Someone is expected to cook, someone is expected to clean, and so forth. So I just wanted to get some tips or an advice. How can we get to understand our gender roles? Thank you.
Gender roles. I'm going to give that question to Lebu. Because lento leyo ukuthi amadoda enza kanje, abafazi benza kanje has messed us up. I think sengifuna ukubhadalela amadoda ilobola manje. Why kungenabantu this side? Sithe 5. Why nifole ni 17 ngapha? When sithe 5. Ningasipayizisi, siyakwazi ukubala. Can two people go this side, please? Thank you, Putwam. Okay, go ahead.
Ngothando wakaluhabe. I'm one of the person that started an NGO looking at counseling vele abantu engifacana ne-struggles facana nazo la ngihlala khona. So I've started this ngiyafuna ukuyisa phambili mara futhi sinalento ukuthi sicabanga ukuthi
hayi yini manje yekani uganga
sinokufuna ipika like I myself I'm talking about me now.
yeah
Ukuthi nginokufuna ispeaker, I want to take this further, but I do not know, okay, I do not have my matric. Ne? But I do want to go into counseling because that's the field that I like to. Ngaya kuphi ukuthi ngithole proper training for
Okay.
it to
Thank
help.
you. Busi, I'll give that to you. Where do I go to get proper training? Asize ngapha.
Sanibonani. Igama lami nguMasesi Nkabinde from 364.
I say use the mic.
Oh, my name is Masesi. I'm from 364. Mina nginombuzo ngicela ukukhuluma ngesiZulu ngoba
Shaya isiZulu mntanami, shaya isiZulu.
ngiyatatazela.
And nesilungu siyabhayizisana.
Siyabona ntwana.
Yeah.
So umbuzo wami ukusisi lapha khona nikhohlwa igama lakhe.
Lowe NGO.
Yeah,
Okay, Busi.
na
Busi the therapist.
Yebo nomlungu.
Nomlungu. Igama lakhe uHaylin. Haylin, yes. Hayi thulani, hleka nje kayi1 bese uyathula. Bese uyathula.
Okay, as mina I'm a community health work. Ngiyenzile ngagraduate. I'm a caregiver. So bengicela ukwazi ukuthi ngingakhona kanjani ukuthola usizo ukuthi ngikhona ungena like ama children's home, old age home, like ibhedlela lezo imentionile zabantu nama disability homes, because I've been applying, ngivolunteer but nje akuhlangani.
So ufuna ukungena to help or to ukuthola umsebenzi now that you are trained.
Yes, ukuthola
Okay.
umsebenzi volunteer to gain more experience.
Awuzwakhe.
Yeah.
Ngiyabonga ukuthi uya acknowledge ukuthi sometimes volunteer so that they know what your services are.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Ngapha. Anyone can take that question.
Sanibonani.
Sawubona.
Yebo, ugama lami uNkosana Makhanya. I-question yami
Uyisondeze baba, abakuzwa lapha, yeah, that's why bebangumsindo.
Oh, sanibonani.
Babona ubuhle bakho nje. Amantombazana sewathi woo! Ani se.
Okay, i-question yami is that okay, ngicela i-background yami kancane. I'm a person, we have NGO, like Extension 1, whereby we deal with old people. Abantu abagugile. So ngiyenza
Abantu abakhulile asiguga sizi ngubo. How?
Okay, abantu abagugile. So I help them ngama exercise because that's what I do. And then once I'm then ngiceda lapho ngirana futhi i-rugby. So I'm dealing with futhi nabantu who are young. And then now I'm at a stage in the middle whereby recently there was a funding whereby NPOs funding were cut off. Now the anxiety bacala ukubuza manje Nkosana, what's going on? I'm not at a stage learning whereby I can able to give advice to an elderly good age, because that's what I have, age. And then going back now, I'm also a.
What's your question, Potwam?
Yes, how can I get to the stage whereby I can able to know what to say instead of saying age? And as a man, how do I motivate young guys whereby now I'm still young, I'm still learning. How do I get to that stage Yes, without crumbling. Yes.
Hakim, that question is for you. How do I stop saying age and speak my mind?
Sanibonani, igama lami nguKhensani ngihlala extension 1. My question is based ku Sisbusi or a therapist. I would like to know ukuthi i postpartum depression overcome kanjani because of I've tried ukuthi ngithola ama solutions through social media, but instead ngithola negative energy. So bengicela unginikeze ama tips engingawazama ukuthi overcome postpartum depression.
I'm going to give that question to Helene. Thank you, Mtanam. Thank you very much. Postpartum depression, ninabangazi, because some of you nikuglisha pornography and not isgulo. Is when you've given birth to a child and awazi ukuthi why ungakwazi ukconnecta nomntanakho, udepressed, uhlala ukhala njalo nje. Ayithizela ukuzonceda. Nekubheka ipornography. Yebo mntanami.
Sanibonani. Sanibona. Igama ngobandile, so like artist, so there's this thing esinokufika kimi yabo.
Hayi. Lalelani ubandile the artist.
So like I've been emphasizing the need of the spiritual life yabo. So I want to know how do I add depth to my daily life.
Hayi manje uyarayima. Ithini question? Angithi ufuna ukuthi bakuncedise. So what is the question?
How do I add depth on my daily life?
How do you?
Add depth.
So how do you adapt?
Add like hook add depth on my daily life.
Oh, add depth to your life.
Yes.
Mawucabanga wena, how do you do it?
Like njengoba ngisho, like I've been emphasizing the need of the soul in spiritual life.
Yeah.
So how do I add depth on my daily life?
On your daily life?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. It's an issue of spirituality.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
First of all, I would like to thank my higher power, God.
You thanking who, Puti?
First of all, I would like to thank my higher power, God,
We thank higher
to
God
grant
with
me
you.
another chance again in front of you people.
Amen.
Yeah, so
Hi guys, Tulantu.
just to cut short and simple.
Don't come too close to this speaker. That's why it's giving feedback.
Oh, no problem, madam.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Eugene from Pretoria. I'm artisan. So I wanted to know, you know, things around the world sometimes. My mindset was raw because of substance abuse. And I'm very intelligent. So I wanted to know.
Intelligent.
I'm very
I
wise.
am what I say I am. Alright, when I put you, I'm very intelligent.
Yes. So I wanted to know, how do I go further to go, like, I wanted to finish, to further my things, go. I have my certificate, I can't talk about certificate, I'm talking about myself now. Because now here we are fighting mindset. So I want to go through my mindset, I want to, I want to.
What's happening in your mind right now?
My mindset.
What is the mind telling you right now?
I like too much things, funny things. You know,
Okay.
something that is, these things I can see that is destroying myself also.
Yeah. Okay. Thank
Which
you.
is not good.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Nizula ngithi, how do I master myself? Yeah. Because my mind is saying a whole lot of things and I want to zoom it so that I'm able to hear myself and connect with who I think I should be because I'm very intelligent. Don't forget that part. Yebo Bhuti. Why
Sanibonani,
nithanda ukuhleka? Hayi, sawubona Bhuti.
ninjani?
Hayi.
Igama lami ngomusa wenkosi. So ngizwe kukhuluma nge-substance abuse. Mina I was a videoneer kahle kahle.
Tandima.
Bengiphe intsango gepu.
Yazi nithanda imali. Nithanda imali. Lalelani so that you know how you are not going to say I was a millionaire. I was a millionaire. Ngokungalaleli nawe ngelinye ilanga uzobe uyimillionaire ungasabi yiyo.
Weed. Bengiphe intsango gepu. So angazi.
Sorry, Bhutan. Sorry. You guys, listen. We're on a stage talking about mental health and wellness. These people are brave enough to stand up and ask questions. If you keep disturbing you're adding to their mental weakness. Learn to be respectful. Learn, if you were here and someone else was jeering at you and making noise, how would you feel? Yourself first, right? The individual first. We're talking about wellness. Be respectful to yourself first and then transfer it to the next person.
So this is not a question. Kakhulu ngifuna answera laba ababhemayo manje. So ngidlule kulezinto lezi ezokuthi elifini njengoba bengibhema I came across ukuthi abantu bangifakele izinto ensangweni like abangani bebangifakela izinto ensangweni, so I became crazy ngaya ku mental institute ezebra lebar. So njengoba usisi esho ukuthi usisibusi esho ukuthi mawuse mental institute there's a way ukuthi
Uye ku question ke sithandwa sami ngoba isikhathi asivumi.
There's a way ukuthi uzithole ukuthi wena ubani futhi yena ngisho ukuthi ufuna usize abantu ngokusho njalo.
Thini umbuzo wakho?
Umbuzo ngithe kuwe ngiyenza i-answer.
Okay.
For
All right,
laba
nikeza lo semva kwakhe Mike, siyabonga contribution yakho. Thank you. Ozaput. Thulani guys.
Sanibonani igama
Siyabona nathi baba.
uThulani Mngomezulu. Umbuzo
Thulani yakhuluma.
ngicela ukubuza kuwe sisibusi kusile therapist. Umbuzo wami ulula nginokukhohlwa sometimes and lento le yangidina lesisi wami. Nanjoba ngikhuluma nawe sometimes njoba ngikhuluma kaye sometimes I forget what I'm even saying at the moment. Sometimes angikwazi nokukhumbula izinto ebezenzakala previously because I'm from the history of abusing substances. Can you please tell me ukuthi ngalithola kanjani usizo ukubuyisa umqondo wami?
Thank you very much. That question zoyinikeza uDr Brenda as another therapist. Wonke lama questions aza kuwe busi ngoba uthe uyitherapist. Sifuna itherapy kahle kahle la. That's why fanele sithule sizothola uncedo.
Sanibona. Igama ngusiyabonga. Ngathi I'm a father, and I'm a father of a 9-year-old boy.
Yes, sir.
So, and I'm also a stepfather of
Yes,
2.
sir.
Hayi. Sanifuna bo stepfather babantwana benu. Thulani. Buza yekela istory butwa mbuza ngoba naku yababona benzani manje buza.
Okay. So umbuzo wami based kubo bhuti laba bawu2 stage. And because I've heard ukuthi there are so many NGOs futhi la that are created by young people like me. So hence as I said ukuthi I'm a father. My question is based ukuthi what initiative have they done to the youth, yala, more especially Orange Farm, and then to you, to those 2 gentlemen that are sitting there, what have they done for young boys, young brothers, and then young fathers like me? Because I'm traveling a lot, and I hardly spend time with my kids.
But
So
let's narrow it down so
Yes.
that you get help. When you're asking what have they done, they are here.
yes.
So what
They're
is
here.
it that you would like to see happening?
More especially in our schools, more especially in primaries. I would like for them or for our NGOs to intervene, more especially on the mental health side,
Okay,
and then
thank
again
you.
on the, I would say on the livelihood side
Thank
of
you.
young boys.
Siyabonga. Thank you.
you.
Guys, sebayasikosha, why are these queues adding manje? Bese 5-5. Sesizovbuwa manje out of his stage, hi guys. khuluma masinyane bayasixosha.
Oh, sanibonani igama lami nguKhosi Sibisi. I'm from 833 Orange Farm. Ngiphuma
Tulan Drizzle 3.
Ngiphuma ku organization NGO Rising Stars. So I'm a volunteer from that organization. So
what's the question? Yekani story. What's your question?
My question is that asina material, we don't necessarily need the funding sitting a material because it's bigana now.
So where do you go to find that? Is that your question?
Yes, that's
Thank
my
you.
question.
Next.
Sanibonani.
Kuluma puti. Bayasixosha la. Spelling isikhathi.
Sanibonani. Usually, our therapists and people like you tell us how to deal with bad situations. Mina ngicela ukubuza ukuthi, how do we deal nama good situations? Let's say ngiwini lotho, how do I then ngikhona ukuthi ngidile kule situation ngingamoshi izinto. Ngingaluzi mindset.
Thank you.
Good situation.
Thank you. Very important question. Yeah. Kahle siqale ngo past. Hey,
guys, give us time.
A minute, guys. Use the minute.
Sanibonani, igama lami uNqobile Nhlapho ngihlala extension 3.
Yeah, kama extension umbuzo.
Bengicela ukubuza ukuthi if nofuna uku-advise umuntu wendoda emotionally abused.
Yeah.
And so ufuna ukumsiza.
Yeah.
Ukuthi into le yakhe akwazi ukuyivale angakhona ukuthi ayivalele. Ufuna
How do you encourage your partner to seek help? Next. Thank you. So phelile angeke sawuthatha wakho angeke bayasishaya uyababona bayasusa angeke phendulani too fast phelile isikhathi sethu asikisi.
All right, the age.
Should I start with gender
Let's come
roles?
this way.
Oh, you want to start there?
Yeah.
Hey, who does that? Who is that?
Okay, I'm gonna be very, very short. If you want more questions, please follow me on my social platform, Busi the Therapist, and ask more questions, you'll get answers. So, for Uvula counseling, you have to go to school. If our youngest golweni, you have to do short courses in counseling. Okwesibini, kumele uphaphe, ubuze ukuthi what can I do and how can I enter into the space of therapy. Uzokwazi uthetha kwi-platforms as well, so akwazi ukukhula on your own. Your own NGO needs funding. If funding ayivele ithi in the space of nowhere, you need to do programs and programs and programs until you are recognized to be funded. And then post-mortem, you need...
That's for heading.
Oh yeah, let's give on that one.
Yeah.
Or how to not to forget. Benthethe anxiety. Once you are stressed, you forget a lot of things.
That's for Dr. Brenda.
That's what Dr. What's the other one?
Yeah. That's it. Thank
That's
you,
it.
Miguez. Thank you so much, Busi. The postpartum depression.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to speak to postmortem depression, but all types of depression, because it is encompassed in one thing. It only takes the human mind 7 seconds to start thinking yourself into a spiral where your beliefs start to become negative. It's generally based on regret of the past or fear of the future, which creates further and further anxiety within you. So the biggest thing you need to do is get in touch with the present, with the now. Get out of your head and into your body so that you can start shifting the way you feel in the present moment. And the easiest way to do it is to start focusing on your breath, to slow down your breath so that you can start becoming quiet in the moment that you're in, so that you can take action steps to get out of the physical space that you're in. Otherwise, you're completely continuing the same cycle. So depression is a thing that is a continuous thing that continues, like continuous work that you need to go through to overcome it. But by focusing on this moment, there's nothing to worry about in the present. It's only our thoughts that start to create concerns and doubts about the future.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm addressing the gentleman who said he's having too many thoughts, not understanding himself.
And he's forgetful.
Yes, so you said that's for me? Yeah, so I think we all know what's good for us as individuals. So we need to, my brother, you need to identify what really are the issues. I would give you a task to say, write down all your thoughts and then set priorities and then look at them, how are they affecting you in relation to your goals. That's for the gentleman. And there's one gentleman, I think is Tando, with an orange shirt. He mentioned something about the good part of the whole thing. So we shouldn't only look at mental health on the negative side. We should also looking at sustaining the good practices. And the good practices is strengthening those coping mechanisms that works for you. And what works for you, make sure that you decentralize from yourself to your peers and to your families. Thank you.
Thank you. Ungathi mawuwine i-5 million uhambe uyothenga imoto ye-6 million ungenandawo yokuhlala. That's insanity.
Yeah. So into your gender roles, simply put, our society is changing and it's changing at a fast pace. Some of the things that our parents knew and practiced no longer apply now. The best way is communication. Whether you are in a family, whether you are in an interpersonal relationship, whether you are friends, and create a space where you can talk. Ukuti, for an example, Dala, the fathers used to be the ones that go out and work. Sometimes bayosebenza futhi in the mines. Kusale o mama ekaya. Nowadays, unemployment and employment has done something very different. So you can't ube ubaba uti mina ngeke ngezizitsha, mina ngeke ngipheke, because there is nothing wrong with your hands. Everybody can cook, everybody can clean, everybody can change nappies, everybody can do laundry. So communication, communication, communication.
So house husbands are allowed. Self-esteem.
All right. All right. I chose to work from home so I can be a house husband, still make money and take care of the family. Abutaka, you said something about how do I stop saying Aish when I have to respond to people, whether it's young people or the elders. I want you to study, and this is for everyone. If you have something that you want to specialize in, study a skill, master a skill, specialize in a skill. I want you to go to Udemy, U-D-E-M-Y, right? Entry-level skills. These are all entry-level skills. Udemy.com. I want you to study mental models. I want you to study frameworks. And then I want you to study NLP, okay? Mental models, frameworks, and NLP, all right? That's going to help you understand a person's situation when they're talking to you, and it'll help you stop saying Aish. Equip yourself with a skill that can help the next person, and your NGO will grow, I promise.
And I'm sure self-talk also helps.
Absolutely.
Positive self-talk. Uzitshele wena ukuthi ngimuhle, ngiyazazi, umzulelo yapho uthe I am intelligent. Usho na ukuthi ngihlakaniphile. Dr. Bus.
Okay, thank you. Ngizoqala nge-question related to ukukhohlwa, forgetfulness. Sebekhavile, but it's very important to remember or to know that the brain is also important. So you might have emotional and psychological issues, but if the part of the brain which is here where memory sits, if that is damaged in one way or the other, whether because of trauma to the head or because of poor blood supply to the area, maybe there's a clot or something, my advice to you is go to a hospital and get yourself checked. They'll probably do a CT scan to see if there's something wrong with you organically.
Thank you.
And then the second question, last
Quickly.
one, the
Last
community
course.
health worker. Community health worker, first question, why did you even go study that? What was your objective? I think all of us need to ask ourselves those questions. And then secondly, look at the course content, what you cover there. It's a different skills, it's communication, it's data collection, etc. You cannot just look for a job that is titled community health worker. You can work in the doctor's practice. You can look for work in research. I mean, vets, they take community healthcare workers. So you need to look at your skills, not the title, and then map that with what you like, and then look for something else.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Gentle people, I'd like you to give a round of applause for these amazing speakers. That's where we ended. Dr. Brenda Gupega, Sichaba Matiela, Sichaba was not here. Lebu Ramafuku, Bokang Jackson Marure, Haylene Joseph, Hakim Anderson, and Busi, aka Busi the therapist, Mzandolo, and your mother, Umam Criselda, Dr. Kananda. Thank you so much for listening to us. That's where we ended. Please go out there and shine your light. Dr. Abati Sondela, quickly for a picture. Are you ready for Jackie Pamoti? Ow, hey ninja, niganti. Sondelan.
What is squeezing in? Thank you so much. That was amazing. Thank you. That was very informative as well. They're still around. If you have other questions that you would like to ask, but you couldn't ask because Konabantu, you can follow them and have a little chat with them. So, mental health wellness, it's deep. It's very, very deep. The next speaker needs no introduction. Her name alone, Angiyamazi ukuthi, she's been on this platform all these years. Every time we come here, she's literally become the resident speaker. Year on year, whenever we say, JK, we need you, the youth of Orange Farm need you, she's always here and willing and available to come and have a talk with you because she cares more about the youth of South Africa. The next speaker is none other than Jackie Pamoti.
Come on, a round of applause for Jackie Pamoti. Come on. Jackie Pamoti in the house.
Jackie Pamoti in the house.
Orange Farm.
Sambonan. Dumelang. Damn, you guys look nice. Libangatabyang. OMG. Let's settle down quickly. I'm going to be quick, fast, and straightforward. Re-youth again. So I'm going to talk to you like youth. Shapugunjan machens lape mover. I'm going to talk to you like youth because we have important things to talk about and very quickly. Niyakhuluma. So I was commissioned to speak about the blesser and blessee phenomena. Niyawathanda amafana ngisho. I don't want you guys to be shy. So if you are confused, listen clearly. I'm going to tell you a short story. Calm down. When I was in matric, 2007, I was in boarding school. At school, I was a girl who was extremely academic. My friends one day said to me, let's go to a club. This is in Bloemfontein. We went to a club and got offered drinks by men we don't know. I can relate, drinks.
So my friend said, "Ariye ko tlabong, there are drinks." And really because rapapa again. We got to the club, skafleita, arida. My friends then said, there are guys at the bar who are offering us drinks. And like girls that we were at the time, we were 18, we accepted the drinks. We didn't know who the drinks were from. We didn't know what we were drinking. We just knew it's alcohol. We just knew it's alcohol. And unfortunately, we got so drunk that we didn't know where we were. Fast forward, I asked a lady who was working at the bar, who looked 10 years older than me, if there was a bathroom. She showed me a bathroom upstairs in the club. We got inside, I sat down, did dilotaka, but I said to her, I feel a bit drowsy. Is there something you can give me to help my drowsiness, because I didn't want to embarrass my friends? She gave me 2 pink pills that I didn't know. Red flag number 1 in Ing, alcohol that I didn't know. Number 2, a pill that I didn't know. Little did I know, it was what we call a day date rape drug. A day date rape drug. It's a drug that they give you in clubs or mohunuante. It eliminates the physical ability to move.
Jackie,
Yes?
can I disturb you?
Yes.
Guys, Orange Farm, I think when we started the summit, I gave you house rules. And one important one was respect. Throughout this morning, the speakers have been asking you to settle down. Please, can we cooperate? If this is not important for you, you're more than welcome to leave. Please don't hinder other people from getting a transformation. Can I ask that you settle down? And we're not going to ask again because we're going to have to kick you out. Cooperate.
Ziyakhala ke manje. So back to the day date rape drug. You drink it, and in a space of a couple of minutes, your body is numb. And that's what happened to me. And I know a lot of people have experienced being drugged in places. But they can drug you, or even at school. I drank that pill within a space of 6-7 minutes, my body was numb. The lady that I had asked for Ankise toilet, she got 2 men into the room where I was. And from there on, for 4 hours, I was gang raped. This is the reality for a lot of young people. I couldn't walk. I had burst my eardrum from crying. I had bitten my tongue. I had dislocated my shoulder, trying to fight my way out. And mind you, I was brought to this place by my friends. So as you're all sitting here, you're sitting with friends or colleagues or batubako strateng bo batsebang. And your neighbors, and you think you can trust those people. Unfortunately, my incident, I didn't feel safe around the people that I was, and that was my mistake. I could have listened to my gut. Fast forward, 2012, come to Johannesburg from Free State after the matriki repasitse. But remember, you're still a child and you're traumatized. From what? The gang rape at the club. You come to Joburg, Braamfontein. You get to Braamfontein and you see Johannesburg in its glory. There's lights, there are parties, there are beautiful people, there's activities, there are places that you don't even know, there are cars that you have never even seen, and you get excited. And unfortunately, I fell into it. I got excited. My friend, once again, a friend, labona dichom. Once again, a friend introduced me to an elderly man. He was 20 years my senior. Do the maths. Do the maths. 20 years my senior. And we see this a lot in our communities where older men date younger girls. And younger boys date older women. The sugar mom. You start dating those people because you think, kitlo thola phone, kitlo thola access ya ko partying, kitlo dula ko VIP, kitlo nwa di champagne tse right, kitlo apara nice. And you date them because it's a cool thing to do now. That's what social media teaches you. That's what your influencers teach you. Or date for money. That's the currency. That's what they say, right? But let me tell you the dangers of that. People like that with money or have power or influence in any community, it does not have to be in Johannesburg, any community, whether you are a police officer, you are a teacher, you are a professor, utichara, maybe go college, or even community leaders, they have power over young people. And young people believe in them, and they worship them, and they follow their leadership. So asking for a relationship, it's easy when somebody has some type of hold on you, especially when they know the disadvantage, right? Where do you come from? Orange Farm. And in Babang, these home situations are really, really bad. Utoloko, there's a lot of abuse, there's a lot of instability in the family environment. So it's easy to date a sugar daddy, right? Because libata life, you bata lifestyle, like libata poster go social media. So that is one of the things that we fell for when we were younger. There was rape in that relationship because most of the time the sex was done without consent. There were friends who were commissioned to rape other girls because they had money. So they would bet on these girls. Okay, majita tlisitse banyana by 5. Omong are okay, nna ke tla mo reka ka bokana, ke tla mo reka ka bokana. There is no consent in that thing. There is no consent in that thing. Something is happening at the back. Can somebody control it, please? There is no consent in forcing young people to sleep with multiple people just because there's money.
Some order at the back, please.
I'll continue. Once again, the friends that we were around, they said, it's going to be okay, at least urufa thelete utlaba sharp. There was an illegal abortion done on me. The man hired a private nurse to remove the baby without my consent. There were girls who were human trafficked in our circle of friends that we still don't know where they are. But wrong because they thought there was money. There were girls who were used and sold for body parts, meaning they take your kidney, they take your womb if they need it, they take parts of your bone marrow if they need it, and they leave you to die. If you look at the news today, there's a lot of young people disappearing. Ask yourself why and where are they? Just 3 weeks ago in Soweto, 2 kids under the age of 10 were mutilated and left in the street to die. Ask yourself where those body parts are. There's a business called an organ system trade, where a lot of rich people sell young people and they use their organs for different things, whether it be medical or traditional medicine. And we are all sitting here thinking, oh, because you don't know what business that person is in. The amount of young girls and women who are trafficked, all of those things start with a relationship. And you may ask me, how did I get out of all of that? Number one, talking helps. If you have been a victim of rape, I've been raped twice in my life. I've been molested a couple of times. But if you're a victim of those things, you can overcome it. I'm standing here before you, trying to remind you that there's still life after trauma. And as much as we see these beautiful girls on social media, ba pushan lifestyle, le majita le ba bona. Motho o mo bona gore ha bereki maro tsamakang ka golf. Winka guy. Ha o bereki maro tsamaka Samsung latest, tsamaka iPhone latest, miriri is sharp. But ha o bereki. So to help myself out of all of that, I had to take myself back to school. Education is number one. You cannot negotiate for your life if you are not educated. Number two, counseling helps if you have experienced something like this. You need to speak to someone. You need to be honest about your living environment. You could be sitting there and you being raped by your father every day, or an uncle, or a teacher, or even a boyfriend every day. Talk about it. Find somebody that you trust that you can talk to. Number three, lifestyle, guys. No. You cannot claim the things that you have not worked for. You cannot claim things that you have not worked for. Ha o robala le Peter, and a Peter e le doctor, ha o doctor. Ha o robala le John, and a John a na le di business, you are not an entrepreneur. And that goes for Majita as well. Ra le bona, le robala le bo rakgadi ba rona, ra le bona. But the thing is, what I'm trying to teach you today, it's the opportunity cost. What will it take for you to realize your self-worth and the value of your own life? Because quick money goes very quickly as well. But oh, better weekend, and next weekend you're broke again. But for the things that you work hard for, you find a pattern and a system to sustain them. So you will always have them. And nobody can take those things away from you. And even if you're from a bad background, you can surely overcome, because there are so many examples of good people who come from bad situations. And I'm one of them. And don't let people shame you into thinking, if something like that has happened to you, you're not enough. You are enough. But watch out for the people around you. Watch out for the people around you. Because the next thing, you're sitting with somebody who's going to sell your soul away for somebody else. Liduti lidicho mimo. Usantsa phone la mamang abua gore weekend tera motlisa kante batla o rape. So, without taking more time, I was given 15 minutes and he's already looking at me. So they say we've got 5 minutes. I'm going to take 2 questions from the left and from the right. He says I've got 5 minutes, so I'm sparing it for questions. I don't know if you guys have heard of a book called The Blesses Game.
Just 2 questions.
Just 2 questions.
I'm pointing and I move on.
There's a book called The Blesses Game. That book, at the end of the year, will be a Netflix series. So I encourage you to change your own life, because if I could do that, you can do it as well. So we've got a question here.
Yes. Hi, Jackie.
Hi.
I've been following you for a very long time.
Thank you, my love.
I think that you're the most strongest person. And I know you've got awards, but I know you've got a book, and I want to know, where can I find it?
You can find it on Take a Lot, exclusive books and so forth.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, by the way, I've got 10 books. I'm releasing another book in 2 weeks' time.
That is much.
And my last question from the gentleman, just stand up for me, please.
We need a guy.
Stand up for me, please.
Okay, sisters.
Sapukunjan.
Sure. So my first question is, how do you go through lento odlule kuyo and awukhonanga uzibulala or uziphosele etshwaleni? What techniques did you use in order to keep up in the way when you keep up ngakhona? And when it comes to relationships, do you still date the other gender, meaning male?
Do I still date who?
the male gender, because this into this sensei, yo.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, thanks for that question. Yes, I do date men. I love men. I love South African men. I love black men. And black men are great. Black men are wonderful. They are kings. They respect us most of the time. And the thing is, guys, can I teach you one thing? There is no room for hate when you want to grow. You can't hate your own people. You can't. So your question might equally be, have I forgiven those people? Yes. Because today Kisho Abampon about is shit. So, you're asking me as well, how did I not get into alcohol or drugs or self-sabotage? That's your question. Let me tell you the truth. The first year, I did self-sabotage. I did. Because I had no one to talk to the first year. But once I discovered that talking helps, I moved away from alcohol. I started working out, so I jog a lot, clear my mind and be healthy. Number 2, I pray a lot, guys. That thing works. Once you surrender your heart to God, that thing works. But most importantly, I need to seek somebody who is in the medical and therapeutic space to help me with my mind. So all of those therapists that were sitting here, they're very vital in how you come out of a situation like that. But also speaking kindly to myself, it was not my fault. I will not take responsibility for a predator. And I equally will not walk around like a broken victim all the time. So you need to take control of your life very quickly, because if you leave it, you'll be a very toxic person in the end. So you control your mind, you control your actions, and you forgive yourself because it's not your fault. So they were already telling me I've got a minute. So thank you so much for taking the initiative to be here. For those of you who want the books, you can go and take a lot, or any platform where you buy books like bargain books or exclusive books. But to the NGOs who are here, please speak to the management here. I'll be happy to donate some books and some funds for your projects.
Yes! Jackie Pamote! That was amazing.
Jackie Pamote, your past does not determine your future. You determine it yourself with the choices you make in spite of what you've been facing. Yes, I was anti-Zaz.
Wow, anti-Zaz to you too. I've moved up the ladder. So we're moving ahead with the program. And I think what I want to highlight is, as far as today is concerned, is that we really do care about your whole total being. The fact that we have a program that looks like this, it simply means we don't want you to just get opportunities. We don't only just want you to succeed in socially. We want
holistic.
we want you to be a holistic human being.
Holistic.
Exactly.
The holistic, the outlook is holistic. You walk out of here with opportunities, with your mind and your spirit really refined, and you become a better person and go out to arrange a farmer.
Yes,
so, right.
Because you know what happens now is that when you're not in the right space, even if somebody were to give you $1 million or somebody were to give you $1 billion, you would not even know what to do with it.
True.
You would go and be on I blew it purely because you were not fine or you were not in a good mental state. So give it up for all the doctors that have been on this
round
stage.
of applause one more time.
With that being said, up next we have Dr. Nomfundo Mhlapo. She is the founder and the MD of Classic Health. Dr. Nomfundo!
Round of applause for Dr. Nomfundo. Come on, Orange Farm, are we still here? Are we still here?
Hello, everybody. How are you? Thank you so much for that introduction. I feel quite privileged to be here because, you know, for me, it feels like I am planting a seed towards the future of our country, right? Because you guys are here this week to take in everything that you need to for us to shape a better South Africa. In the next 5 to 10 years, we would have restructured what the future can be like. NgesiZulu kuthiwani, ligotshwa lise manzi, right? Thank you. So I am here to just attend to one of my, you know, a subject that's very close to my heart, and that is substance addiction, all right? And I think most of the time, addiction is always thought to be only to substances. But I think we can start by checking whether you know what addiction is. So just from a show of hands, gonna try and make it as interactive as possible. Who wants to tell us what addiction is? Anybody? Is there a mic? Is there a roving mic at all? No? All right, that's fine. So addiction is actually the inability to control either an act, it's the inability to control the use of something, or it's an ability for you to be able to not do a certain thing. Which means then that addiction can be to anything, right? Do you agree? Addiction can be to shopping, right? As long as it becomes harmful to your well-being, then it's not right for you. So you can be addicted to food to such an extent that it actually harms your health and your well-being. You can be addicted to shopping so that uzithola useikweletini and it breaks your family apart. You can be so addicted to friends to the extent that you can see ukuthi they are not contributing to your progress and are becoming harmful to you, but you cannot stay away from them, right? You can also be addicted to work to such an extent that you don't have a family structure left. So having said that, how many of us are either about to be addicted, are addicts, or are recovering addicts? From a show of hands. Okay, I can say so. All right. And often, when you do that thing that you're addicted to, it is often to address an emotional situation. So my talk is really focused on the hidden truths about addiction. And here's a fact. Addiction is when you are not able to control an emotional state of mind, and because you cannot, you actually use something to escape it. Are we together? All right? One of the things that we need to be very aware of is we should never assume we know why somebody is addicted. All right? We all walk around thinking we understand addiction and we understand why somebody is addicted. So I just want us to play a clip, and I don't know if media has received that clip, of a young man. His name is Thabo Lesotho. And I would like to just check, are we going to play the clip? Okay, that's fine. We can move on. Hey? I'm not sure if are we playing the clip, media? Okay, perhaps they'll play it later. But he actually shares what led him to start using. So I want to zoom in a bit to substance use as an addiction, because that's what I do on the daily. I'm taking care of people who are addicted, especially injectors that we have on our program. And what we know as a fact is that the average age of addiction in South Africa is 12 years old. We even have 8-year-olds who have been reported to be addicts, who are addicted to something called crystal meth. Now, we don't have enough time to go through the different types of drugs that we have, but one of the most common is what we know as inyaope, right? And that is essentially heroin. Okay. So the assumption is always that people who are around, there's a lot of thought processes around. There's a lot of assumptions about abantu aba addict because it is genetic. Well, most of the time, if you have inherited something genetically, it must show up either while you are in your mother's womb or it shows up early in life, right? So that's not the most common. And yes, there could be those people, but it's certainly not one of the main reasons. What will you hear an addict say when it comes to what led me to use drugs? They will tell you of a traumatic experience that happened to them. And some of the common things we hear of is, I had severe trauma in my childhood. When the trauma happens in your first 2 years of life, those are the years where your social skills are developed. Ne? You carry it throughout. Ngoba umntwana, ne? When something happens to a child, they will think they are the reason it happened to them. Ne? So they walk around shameful most of their lives. Sikuthole sowungaga. Kanti your challenge actually started in the first 2 years of life. But your addiction only starts as a teenager because you've suppressed lauma feelings all along. Okay? The other thing could be that somebody is sexually abused. One of the common reactions to sexual abuse is somebody thinking that they should have done something. Why ngenzanga something? Why did I not fight back? Right? So they walk around angry at themselves and blaming themselves. And because they can't deal with those particular things, they end up using to dampen that feeling, right? Right? And hurt, deep, deep hurt. And as a result, you use the drug to actually suppress all of that. So there's many reasons that people would be addicted, but today I want us to address the fact that addiction is more about a trauma. Ne? Somebody has been traumatized in some way or another. And as a result of that trauma, they want to use the substance to actually deal with it because there's no other outlet. Are we together? Right? And then, as society, what do? We put the salt in the wound. Ne? Siyenze worse lentole. Why? First of all, we treat them like they are illegal community of people. Right? Whereas umuntu ophuza kakhulu, we would never say they are illegal, right? But they're destroying themselves and their liver, for that matter. Ne? Then umuntu obhemayo, who's killing their lungs with nicotine, we wouldn't say they are illegal because society has tended to make it okay. But owenya upege ay shem agayoboshwa. Are we together? Right? The second thing that we do is that we reinvent the wheel of the trauma. So what are we saying? This person is already traumatized by their past. Uyafika wena, you end up traumatizing them even more by stigmatizing them, by making them feel like they belong in jail, they need to be arrested, or they need to be removed from society. When there are cleanups with the police or anything like that, one of the things you see most in social media is what? Yeah, we arrested the drug addicts. Ne? As if they are a harm to the society. So we are one of the reasons that people who are using drugs continue to use drugs, and we end up just arresting them in this whole cycle, a trauma. Si reinvente le trauma. All right. So I think what's most important is to understand the following. One, you will not help an addict from sitting on a judgment seat. And what did we say? Some of us are recovering addicts from something. We are about to be addicted to something, or we are in some sort of addiction. But just because it's not substance addiction, we downplay it. So one of the things I'd like us to be aware of as a community and society is that we should not sit on judgment seat and judge why somebody is using. Are we together, right? The second thing then is that we should not think it's a press of a button. Why bangayegi? As if they are in control of what they are doing. They are not in control of what they are doing, all right? So we cannot then think by just pressing a button, kusasa agabe sober. A lot of us have some experience with living with somebody who is addicted, right? And one of the things that you want to do as somebody ohlala nomuntu opemayo is that you just want it to stop. So you hope that somebody can come, amthathe, amise rehab, amcure, abuya right. And that's not how easy it is. Because if I'm talking about, have you seen how drug addicts would actually go in and out of rehab? Right? It's because we expect some miracle from just that one visit, 3 weeks, rehab. And one of the models that we have seen work in South Africa is